Now, have you ever had friends or family relations or people you used to know who used to experience the kind of things you were experiencing, but right after their situation improves, you notice that when you begin to talk about those experiences, they don't seem to understand you anymore. They seem to be a kind of alienated from those things. Now, a couple of months ago, I was living in a location where, the issue of power outage was not something we were alien to. But when I now moved out of that location a few months later, now when people talk about the issue of power outage, the national grid falling, I don't seem to understand it. Why? Because I moved into a location where I have access to unlimited solar energy, and so there's no such thing as power outage or so. And now I'll call somebody and then I'm not be able to get through to him, and then he will call me back later and say, oh, I was charging my phone because we've not had power for days. I was beginning to like, what do you mean by that? Why? The reason is because just few months down the line, my perspective has changed, because I don't experience that anymore. So I begin to feel like what these people are talking about is strange to me. You see, look at how quick it is for me to forget the experiences I used to have. Privileges are not meant to make us forget that we never had those experiences, but privileges are to make us appreciate and also be compassionate and be considerate to people who have not had that kind of privilege that you have. So I was just thinking about my situation, because after a while I was beginning to like, it's like I've even forgotten where I used to be, this issue of power that I used to have before. Now this brings us to, the situation in our country right now, the issue of insecurity. There are people who still feel like this issue of insecurity is a joke, because they sit in their mansions, they have security, they don't have any problems, so nobody's disturbing them. They think as though whatever the masses, the people are talking about, is not it's just a clash. They call it communal clashes, and so on, farmer header crisis and so on. That's not what it is. It's because they live in a very comfortable environment. They don't experience these things, so they don't think that it exists. So and sometimes we have people around us who God blesses, they get good jobs and then they start earning well, and then after a while they begin to forget those who they labor together. They begin to forget the fact that people are going through a whole lot. They forget the fact that there are people who hardly eat in a day. They forget the fact that the economy is harsh, the price increase, just things keep skyrocketing and hiking on a daily basis, and people find it very hard to feed. But there are people who do not have that problem. They don't have that situation, because for them, they have everything they need. It's easy for them to go and buy anything. It doesn't matter the price. So I'm using this situation of mine currently to make you understand that no matter where you go tomorrow, do not forget where you came from. Sometimes we need to remind ourselves of where God brought us from, so that we'll appreciate where we are now, and also be considerate and compassionate to those who are going through very difficult situations. Let's not look at them as though they are the ones who are the cause of their problems. It's just privilege, and so it's important for us to have that kind of heart. Let us not forget where we came from. I hope that helps, and do have a lovely day.